Kent Online News.
News you can trust.
This is the Kent Online Podcast. Nicola Everett.
Hello, hope you're okay. On Tuesday, July the 21st, thanks ever so much for downloading today's podcast. And our top story today is about a teenager who's told an inquest how she was trapped for 3 hours when the car she was in flipped into a ditch, killing her two friends near Sittingbourne. Well, senior reporter Joe Crossley joins me now. Joe, you were at the inquest. What was the hearing told?
This is an inquest into the deaths of Adam Dudzinski and his girlfriend Chloe-Ann Naylor. Chloe was 16 and Adam was 17. They died after drowning in a car which had come off of Old Ferry Road in Iwade. It was actually the coldest night of the year as well. So this was on January 3rd. For something like this to happen to those families, including the survivor who's also 16, just shocking.
And what more did you learn about the night of the crash?
Adam was picked up by a legal guardian after working a shift at Sainsbury's. He then picked up Chloe-Ann Naylor as well as her friend, who we can't name because of reporting restrictions put in place at the inquest. So all three of them were drove to Adam's house. From there, they spent the evening there. But then Adam, who didn't have a licence and didn't have any insurance for the Ford Fiesta he would be driving, drove Chloe and the friend back to Chloe's house. Or that was the plan anyway. On their way to Chloe's home, they were travelling down Old Ferry Road, and the inquest heard yesterday that while he wasn't speeding, he was driving probably too fast for the conditions, and they came to a sharp bend, and basically he wasn't able to brake in time to go round the bend, and the car veered off of the road and landed in a drainage ditch upside down, which was full of water. From there, basically, we heard about a 3-hour ordeal from the survivor, whose statement was read out in court, and she told about how Chloe was trying to hold Adam's head above the water, and that she kept on calling for Chloe during the ordeal, and at one point Chloe went silent. We then also heard about how the dad of the friend of Chloe basically used Live 360, which is a mobile app where people can track each other's locations. And we heard how he turned up using that around about around about midnight, and called the emergency services. But by the time they had arrived, Chloe and Adam were already dead.
And for the survivor, Joe, to have to relive what happened, that must have been awful.
When I was listening to the inquest, it was horrific. She was actually in the inquest listening to it with her father and her mum. And it's just, I have no idea how she survived it, especially in those conditions. It's a miracle that she got out of that car. But she's now got that survivor's guilt that she's going to have to carry with her for the rest of her life. And part of the reason that we can't name her is because of this court order that was put in place by the coroner, who was kind of basically trying to protect her for the rest of her life.
And was there anything else that the coroner had to say?
Yeah, so the full inquest is done. The only sort of, follow-on will be he's put in for a report, which is basically called prevention of future deaths, into the road itself. There have been improvements made to the road following the deaths. So they put in what is called dolly posts, which are kind of knee-high posts which have reflections, so that it should be a bit safer now. But it's awful that they've only just gone in after two teenagers have lost their lives on that stretch of road.
Of course, our thoughts are very much with the families involved. And Joe, thank you ever so much.
Kent Online News.
A 28-year-old man's been charged with the murder of former Maidstone MP Anne Widdecombe. She was found at her home in Devon earlier this month after suffering serious injuries. Joshua Kerry, who's from Rotherham, will appear in court later. Assistant Commissioner Lawrence Taylor is the head of National Counter-Terrorism Policing.
Earlier today, detectives from Counter-Terrorism Policing were informed that following a submission of evidence to the Crown Prosecution Service, charges have now been authorised. We have charged Joshua Kerry, a 28-year-old British national of Burley Road, Rotherham, South Yorkshire, with her murder. He is still in custody and will appear at Westminster Magistrates Court tomorrow morning for his first hearing. It remains the case that we are not looking for anyone else in connection with this incident. I know there has been significant interest in this case, and rightly so. I want to make it very clear that our investigation into this individual, determining his motivations and any wider activity he may have been involved in, is continuing. Given Anne Widdecombe's profile and the targeted nature of the attack, determining the motivation, including any possible political motivation, remains an active avenue of investigation for our detectives. And as with all murder investigations, understanding the why is a key part of our inquiries. This has been and remains a particularly intensive and complex investigation. Over the last week, our teams have gathered a huge amount of information, leading to over 800 lines of inquiry. Each of those needs assessing carefully and thoroughly, and I ask that we are given the time to do that. Should counter-terrorism policing identify any further offences, we will liaise with the Crown Prosecution Service and submit evidence where appropriate. As always, to ensure the best outcome for victims and their families, we must do this right, not just quickly. And I reiterate my ask for the support of the public in this.
And a coroner has said the precise medical cause of Anne Widdecombe's death is yet to be established as an inquest is opened and adjourned. A 4-year prison sentence has been handed to a child sex offender from Sevenoaks. Obianata Onyia targeted his victim in the early 2020s and was arrested after they reported it to a family member who contacted police. The 30-year-old from New Ash Green initially pleaded not guilty but later changed his plea. A Kent police officer who inappropriately touched a colleague on nights out in London has been barred from the profession. A misconduct panel heard PC Thomas Beaumont, who was based in Swanley, first targeted the woman in February 2024 at a bar in Covent Garden. The hearing was also told he would have been sacked if he hadn't already resigned from the force. A no swim warning has been put in force at a Kent beach following a sewage spill. The Environment Agency is urging people not to go into the water at St Margaret's Bay near Dover. Southern Water say they're working to repair a burst sewer. Figures out today show another drop in unemployment in Kent. 40,900 people were claiming out-of-work benefits in May. That's down by 105 compared to the previous month.
Kent Online reports.
Next on today's episode, and the boss of a Kent homelessness charity has welcomed the new Prime Minister's pledge to end rough sleeping. Andy Burnham said it was his number one priority after getting the keys to Downing Street yesterday. It also comes at a time when major local government reorganisation is going to take place. Well, Tom Newmark is the CEO of Canterbury-based Porchlight, and I spoke to him shortly after Andy Burnham spoke in Downing Street yesterday.
We're delighted to see that this has been given the top billing that Andy Burnham, the new Prime Minister, has made it. We believe it is possible to end rough sleeping, and we support the government's efforts to do so.
I believe Mr Burnham was visiting a homelessness centre this morning, actually, before he went to see the King, and he said, look, we did it during COVID, we can do it again. I guess COVID was a slightly different situation, but can it be done? And indeed, how can it be done?
I think that's a great question. The key point to say is we can end homelessness and rough sleeping. We have done it before and we can do it again. It is possible to do. It's only possible, though, if all elements of our society work together. This is not something that government alone can achieve. It requires charities, it requires community groups, it requires landlords all working together. In Kent, we have some great partnerships and we have all the necessary ingredients to work together to do it, but it does require us all pulling together. Leadership from government can really help with that, though.
Of course, we've got changes right at the very top of government, but we're also going to have changes here in Kent in the next couple of years. We're going to see all of the local councils scrapped, replaced with our 4 unitary authorities. It's a huge time of change between now and when that comes into force in 2028. Is that going to help or hinder the process of ending homelessness?
We are concerned that during this process where the different districts and boroughs and county councils are being reconfigured, that is not used as an excuse to stop paying attention to the vital work of preventing people from being homeless or from ending it when someone has been. It's a very complicated thing that's happening in Kent with the different moving pieces. But at the same time, we have to get on with the job in hand. And that's why we really welcome the Prime Minister putting attention to this, because we can't spend the next 2 years solely talking about reorganisation. We have to actually talk about the things that matter to people, like ending homelessness.
He also has said about the cost of living crisis and how he wants to ease the pressure. I mean, the two kind of go hand in hand, don't they? The cost of living crisis and homelessness and people who do end up sadly on the streets. So presumably you were quite pleased to hear that as well, that's something else he's very keen to tackle.
You'd expect a Prime Minister to put that top of the list, because I think it's something we all feel. In particular, what we see, of course, is that rents going up and up and up, and people's income not always being able to manage that. And that creates a real pressure on households. It creates a real pressure on individuals. And that means that some people who don't have savings or whose income doesn't go up can simply not manage and get into some absolutely terrible situations. So anything that can be done around that would be very welcome. Having said that, the medium-term fix has to be that people have a bit of stability over their rent, over that, and that they have the means to be able to afford to pay that rent. I don't think quick fixes are the thing that is going to do that. We do need good, safe, secure, affordable housing for people.
An investigation's underway after 2 goats were stolen from a farm in Medway. Maggie and Maple are thought to have been taken after thieves cut a hole in a fence on Mirraborough Road in Rainham on Saturday night. Their owner's been left devastated and is pleading for their safe return. A gas leak that led to homes being evacuated near Rochester has now been contained. Fire crews were called to Church Street in Burham yesterday. They worked with gas safety engineers to make the area safe. Advice for residents to keep windows and doors closed was lifted last night. Now, the family and friends of an army veteran from Dover who died last year are set to do a skydive in his memory. Ash and its sister and nephew are among those who'll be leaping from 12,000 feet to raise money on what would have been his 36th birthday. The cash will go to suicide prevention charity Legend on the Bench, which installs illuminated benches in public spaces as places of remembrance and hope. And don't forget, if you do need support, you can call the Samaritans at any time on 116 123. That's 116 123. Or you can chat in confidence to a trained Release the Pressure advisor. Again, that's at any time. Just text the word SHOUT to 85258 or call 0800 107 0160.
Kent Online reports.
Plans for a regeneration scheme in Gravesend that were approved 6 years ago have been scaled back in a bid to finally get the project off the ground. Developers wanted to build 236 flats at Clifton Slipways, but they've now been reduced to 199. One of the tower blocks is going to be shorter, so it won't be classified as a high-risk building. A new application is being considered by the council. A bungalow in Herne Bay that was once described as a health hazard because of a rat infestation could be demolished to make way for a care home expansion. The owners of HMT Care have submitted an application to replace the derelict building with a 2-storey extension of their specialist site on Albany Drive. They look after people with Huntington's disease and other neurological conditions. Traders in Ashford say they want better access from a town centre car park to the high street, amid fears the current planned route will make it difficult for shoppers. The Parkmel shopping centre has been demolished along with nearby car parks. Well, pedestrian access from the nearby facility will be to the left of the site near St George's Square, which meets New Street. The council say they've received a petition and will respond in due course. Now, a new conference centre has opened near Ashford, aiming to help people with learning disabilities get meaningful work. The site at Highlands Farm in Woodchurch will be used for training in things like catering, room setup and customer service. The course will be fully accredited with qualification certificates for those who complete it. Lucy's been chatting to Sarah Edwards, who's CEO of Canterbury Oast Trust.
Firstly, I think it's important to start with our vision, really. So our vision at Canterbury Oast Trust is that people with learning disabilities shape an inclusive society where anything is possible. And I think you do that really by contributing to your society and contributing to your wider community. And work is one of the most important ways of doing that. So the conference centre has been conceptualised really to help us realise some of that vision and create these opportunities for adults with learning disabilities and autistic people. So the conference centre is on our site at Highlands Farm, where we also have the Rare Breeds Centre, which is a tourist attraction, a farm tourist attraction inviting people in every year, I think about 120,000 visitors per year. And that's also part of our life skills development offer. So providing training opportunities for adults with learning disabilities and autism. So the conference centre really has been designed as part of an employment pathway. It can hold up to 100 people for events, and we can cater for various different kind of style events, boardroom type meetings from away days, combining even potentially access and opportunities on the farm as part of those provisions. The way that it will work is we're developing a development program through our AQA. We're an accredited AQA centre, which is a unit award scheme. So what this allows us to do is it allows us to break down all the various different parts of working in the conference centre into manageable sections. So people will attend us funded through their social care budget, and we will train them in the various different aspects of how to work in a conference centre. Once they've met all of their competency parts of that programme, which we're considering will be up to about 12 weeks, then they will be approved as competent and will be given an employment contract. And that employment contract will then lead to paid supported employment, where we will engage supported people to in all stages of setting up events at the conference centre, from arranging the tables and getting the room set up based on the client's specifications, to the catering, to even potentially kind of meet and greet customer services, and then packing down the event. So it might be that somebody's employed for an hour a week on an ad hoc basis, or somebody might have more desire to work more hours and attend more events with us, and then with the view that the next step really is this is a confidence stepping stone into then a broader employment opportunity in the mainstream environment. So the Inclusion Conference Centre offers organisations a professional venue that also delivers social value with every single booking. Every single booking creates employment opportunities for people with learning disabilities and autism.
Fantastic. And as you said, a great stepping stone for people who maybe want to be in work but kind of don't know how to get into it. And I suppose it will give them the confidence as well to learn these skills and know that they can do it.
Absolutely. The world of work is a big, scary place for anybody, really, regardless of people with intellectual disabilities or additional learning needs. And the idea of going into employment often is kind of steeped around the feeling that people would have to completely come off their benefits in order to do so, which is a huge risk. So this gives people the opportunity to kind of learn what work is all about in a really safe, secure environment, underpinned by the AQA assessments that they've undertaken, as well as underpinned by additional support to make sure that this supported employment is successful for them, to then look at what the next steps are into that broader marketplace. So some of the people that we support might never have had an opportunity of paid work before. So this is a really exciting step in their progression, and for people that we're currently not supporting, having an opportunity to take part in something new.
Yeah, absolutely. And what kind of benefits does it bring to someone with learning difficulties or autism to have that sense of purpose, maybe, and, going out and having a job?
Yeah, you've described it exactly as that. I think purpose and meaningful occupation is really important to people, and that can come in many different ways. And so we've been supporting people for a number of years through different training and life skills programs that build up their confidence and their skills. So this is the next step in that pathway. We all know that actually having a purpose, having a reason to get up is hugely motivating for all of us. And it not only motivating, but really good for our mental well-being as well, and how we know that we're contributing to our local communities and our societies. The people that we support have got so much to give. They really, really have. And actually, this is an opportunity for us to support breaking down some of those barriers and making sure that the general public really understand that there is this huge contribution from the people that we support into their local communities and their societies, and supporting them to really be valued members of those societies and communities. So the outcomes are so much broader than just for the individual. I think it has a societal impact too.
The landlords of an historic Kent pub have announced they're retiring after 15 years. Kevin and Karol James run the Plough Inn on Lucen Street between Sittingbourne and Faversham. They say they've made the tough decision to move on, but are looking forward to spending more time with their grandchildren. Plans to refurbish the Theatre Royal in Margate have been given the go-ahead. The site dates back to 1787, but closed 4 years ago after falling into disrepair. Work's already started on the £6 million restoration, with a search continuing to find an operator. Now, if you've seen the new Heartstopper Forever movie on TV, you might well recognise some Kent places on screen. Herne Bay Beach was used by film crews for the finale to the popular Netflix show. The whole series is based on books by Medway author Alice Oseman. And a survey has found the M20 is the nation's favourite motorway. It's been given a satisfaction score of 79% by drivers. The M25 is among the worst roads with a score of 65%. According to independent watchdog Transport Focus.
Kent Online Sport.
Starting off with football, and Gillingham are taking on another championship side later in a pre-season friendly. They're welcoming Millwall to Priestfield after hosting Charlton at the weekend. The Gills narrowly lost that match 1-0. Kick-off tonight is at 7. Staying with football, and a teenager who played for Chatham Town has now signed for a Premier League team. Sam Seam Richardson came through the club's academy and is joining Brentford on a 2-year deal. The 19-year-old scored 11 goals and provided 27 assists last season. And finally, boxer Moses Atalma and his brother are behind plans for a new gym in Chatham. The British heavyweight and Karol, who's a youth Olympic gold medalist, have joined forces with Anis Mehmeti, who plays for Ipswich Town, and unbeaten featherweight boxing prospect Frankie Wood. They're launching Club 83 at Dockside this September, where the true gym used to be. Well, Karol Atalma has been telling us more about it.
Club 83 is an authentic piece. So obviously, the founders, my brother, or co-founder, my brother, Anis Mehmeti and Frankie Wood, we all have sporting backgrounds. All our families that are in boxing, in football, and it's about creating a unique facility that Medway hasn't seen yet. So I'm talking like your longevity amenities, your vitamin protocols, your private blood testing, all under one roof. I think that's such a unique offering. Me and my brothers are really close, and we always kind of said that the natural trajectory for us is to be acquiring businesses, and one of those was a gym. So for it now to actually kind of be coming into fruition, it is an amazing feeling and a beautiful progression for us all. I think we can both agree on that location when it comes to business is very important, and Medway, Dockside, obviously being right next to the St. Mary's Island as well, is an amazing location. Obviously, Wagon One was there, Starbucks right below. It's huge footfall, so I feel like that's a perfect positioning for our gym to be in, because not only will it bring in footfall, but also kind of align with our brand that we're trying to create.
Well, that's all from us for today. Thanks ever so much for listening. Don't forget, you can follow us on socials. Plus, you can get details on the top stories direct to your email each morning via the briefing. To sign up to that, just head to kentonline.co.uk. And whilst you're on the site, you can also subscribe to Kent Online Premium. That gives you access to content with fewer ads and exclusive stories.
News you can trust.
This is the Kent Online Podcast.